So the Dana Dolly is vastly superior to basically anything you can get for 300 bucks. I believe the cost of these, I think when I bought mine years ago, it was like $650 or $700, worth every stinking penny. I have used 12-foot Dolly rails before, and they're awesome. You can also lay this on the ground and get very, very close to the ground. So anyway, what's essential too, when you get a decent Dolly like this, you want to get an okay head. You want to get some, this is a Manfrotto 701 HDV head. It's a very good little head, it's perfect, but the key is it's got to be loose enough where you can do compound movement. So a compound movement is I'm sliding, that's movement 1. I can pan as I slide, that's movement 2, and I can tilt, and that's movement 3. And so when you combine all these different types of movements, you can get beautiful compound looks. And you'll see that in the video that we did of Father Rich in a minute. So the second thing is the camera that I'm using is the Alpha 1. It's really become the one camera. It's the one camera to rule them all, for me anyway. And one of the things I really love is this articulating screen. I can pull it out and I can angle it at whatever angle is best for me to view it. Because sometimes if this is on the ground, I can have it go straight up and I can look down, whatever. But it's really handy to be able to do that. The second thing I love about the Alpha 1 is it is the most superior IAF while shooting video on the planet. There's nothing anywhere in the same league. And that means I can use a 24-1.4 G Master lens wide open at 1.4, which allows me to keep my ISO low. Not that noise is a problem with this camera, but it's just really nice to be able to have like the elegant look. And even though Father Rich is juggling and moving, his hands are moving all the time, the camera's never fooled by that movement, and it just tracks his eyes the entire way. So this is like going on vacation, really. And I'm shooting 4K and 30p today. I could have done 60p, but there's no reason for slow motion because the content of the video is all about what he's saying, not the action of the juggling.
Probably the worst feeling there is for me constantly is that feeling of being stuck.
Okay, I'm using a total of 3 LED lights for this shoot, and this is my main light. And I wanted to show this to you because I literally just got it yesterday from camera store, and it's an Amaran 200D. And there are a number of reviewers that have reviewed this light and didn't like it. They loved how bright it was, but they didn't like the noise that it produces. But I do not find the noise bad at all. I mean, I'm in a big room with big heat and air conditioning. There's a freezer going in this behind a door behind me. I can't hear this light. In most working production, you know, a little bit of ambient is common, and this light is very quiet. In fact, I'm going to take the mic off, and I'm going to put it right on here so you can hear the light, the sound that it makes. And this is the room noise.
And often, that something different gives me new ideas.
It was risky to buy this light because of the noise. Like Gerald Undone was really not happy with this. I absolutely love it, but I don't work in a soundstage. I work on location everywhere I go, so I'm never in a soundproof room. It's just not part of my world in production. So this thing is awesome. It's tiny, it's itty bitty. It has a very small power supply, and thank God they listened to all the photographers that complained, and complain is a nice word. They made it where the cord, the AC cord is short, but the cord that goes from the power supply to the head is really long. So I could put this thing, you know, 14 feet in the air and I'm not going to run out of cord, which is ideal. The other thing is, if you want to come in, it's very bright. I had to turn this thing way down for the shoot. And this is 60%, here's 100%. It's super bright. I mean, it's wicked bright. So you can see kind of how that'll blow you out for sure. But anyway, what's nice about this, there's a couple things nice about it. This does work with a Bluetooth cell phone connection if you want to. I don't bother with it because I just do it manually because I'm old school. But you have a Bluetooth button where you can press and it'll find it on the app. But other thing, you can do 99, 98 and all that stuff. But usually when we're changing the power of a light, those tiny incremental differences are not really helping. And so if you punch it once, you'll change in much, much larger increments. So you can punch, there's 100%, here's 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100. It's a much better way to work. They're not exact stops, but they're pretty close. But this light, this 200 watt daylight only Amaran it's called 200D. This thing is rivaling the Godox 300 that I have. And it's amazing because it's super tiny, small. It packs up much smaller than that light does. So I think there's gonna be more of these in my future. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna leave this and we're gonna go to the next light. I think that because they're not serviceable in the United States, they're not even sold in the United States, I wanna be changing out all these heads. I think I have 5 of these. I'm gonna change them out for the Amaran 200Ds because I think it's gonna be a better way to go and I'll have more power at the other end. But it's still a very useful light. It has very good CRI and it's punchy. The other thing is I've got a Fresnel connected to this one. I just want to show you the Fresnel. So this is the open face of the light. It's extremely bright, even though I've got it turned down. So you can see how bright it is. The Fresnels are awesome. So it comes from a French word, Fresnel, and it has to do with waving glass. And so what happens is the light transmits through the glass that has all this waves in it. And it produces more effect like the sun. So it's a more organic light. And when you work with LEDs, LEDs are not an organic light. They're alarming, actually. They're like, oh, what is that? And so I like using Fresnels with LEDs because it calms them down and it gives me a better look. Also, this is a really cheap Fresnel. I think it was $45 from Amazon. This one's Nangang, NG10X it's called. I will put a link below so you can find this if you want. It's really cheap, but it also tends yellow. So it's not a pure daylight light like my other Fresnel, which is a much better one. But I used this because I knew this room was warm. It's tungsten, and so it's kind of closer, and I shot it at wood, which is also warm. So what's nice about these Fresnels is you put them on, and they're focusable. So I could make a tiny little spot, like there's a little spot up there, or I can bring it out. And all I wanted to do is light up this wood, because the wood is so dark and it just eats light. And so that's how we ended up shooting this one. And this, of course, turned down. So I could turn it way up, 6. I didn't need that. So 4.6 was the perfect output for this one.
And mistakes can lead to something fun.
And finally, we come to my last light, which is a high-low LED 1200 video light. I've never seen these for sale. I got it from a friend of mine as a gift years ago, and Peter Paremba gave it to me, great guy. But it's basically a low-powered LED that's daylight that has a built-in Fresnel, and it has the ability to focus as well. So you can do a wash or a spot. So I could take this thing in, and I can broaden it way out. So it's like a theatrical light. It gets very wide. It's a very useful light on location, but for this purpose, it was great to have. This cross is really significant. This Jerusalem cross in our church, and it's kind of a big deal. It's like the symbol of John the 23rd Catholic Church. So we're going to probably leave this in here permanently at some point so that the cross is always lit. But anyway, this is just a really nice ability to control, and it's nice that it's all in one head. The disadvantage is I can't use this in a light bank. I can't use it for anything else. It's only for this, so I don't use this very much. And I think it's better to have the other LEDs that you can take the Fresnels off and on. But it's still an extremely effective tool, and it's a really great way. When you use a Fresnel, you actually multiply power. So you get much more output when using a Fresnel than you would any other way, even a reflector. So, and again, very organic. See how the edges of the light are very soft? It's just a beautiful look, and you can kind of play with it. And also, it's probably overexposed the way you're seeing it, so I can also turn it down. So tell me when the light is the same as what is on me. Okay, that's as far down as it goes. Okay, so you can see I was able to kind of match the light that's on me, but then when we actually used it, it was up here for the production. So basically, lighting is everything. It really is. Lighting is everything when you're doing these videos. One last thing I want to mention when doing video, I've had such a good time ever since 2012 shooting video with Sony. They make it so easy. I mean, insanely easy. But the reality for me is I didn't ever get to shoot outside of 8-bit color until about a year ago when I bought the FX9. And the difference between 10-bit color and 8-bit color is so radical. It's so amazing. And when you have 10-bit color, you can tone video files almost to the extent you can tone still files. It's phenomenal. It really is. And what's really cool is when the Alpha 1 came out, it meant that I had a total of, because I have 2 of these, so now I have FX9 and I have 2 Alpha 1s, and this gives me the ability to do 3 camera shoots in 4K at 120 frames a second if I want to. Now, I didn't do that today, we just used 30p, but also the same Cinetone S function that's in the Venice camera, which is how they're shooting movies in Hollywood. That same functionality is in the FX9 and also in the Alpha 1s and the A7S III and the FX3 and the FX6. So it's just hard to explain to people, if you're only a still photographer right now, it's just a matter of time before you have to start shooting video because still jobs are reducing like crazy. And video jobs are always increasing. People want to consume video more than they want to consume stills. It's just the fact of life. I don't like it, but it's the fact of life. But when you can introduce audio and lighting, 10-bit color, and a beautiful slider, really it's not a hard thing to make a beautiful video. So I hope you enjoy. Like I said, at the end of this clip, I'm going to put the entirety of what we end up using on our YouTube page for the church, and just so you can kind of see how it ended up. This is Pat Murphy-Racey, Sony Artisan of Imagery, saying thank you so much for coming on a shoot with me today. I'm going to do more of these in the future. The next couple of videos I'm going to be doing, hopefully next week, are going to be on the video camcorders that Sony makes, all the current camcorders that are inexpensive and are ideal for streaming, because so many people are having to stream now. So I'm going to try to do more content in that direction. And we're going to feature a total of 4 or 5 different video cameras in that section. So please stay tuned, like my channel, subscribe. That's how I can continue to do these videos in the future. Thanks so much for watching.
You know, probably the worst feeling there is for me constantly is that feeling of being stuck. Emotionally, spiritually, in life. Just that feeling of no matter what I do, it never goes anywhere. If you've ever been driving on mud or ice, you know what I'm talking about. You jam on the gas and those wheels are just going and nothing happens except you're digging in deeper. The Greeks used to have a term for this. They called it acedia, and they thought it was probably the worst thing that could happen because it made you want to give up. And that's always so sad. I've found when I get stuck in that place, the best thing I can always do is something completely different and unexpected. And often that's enough to break me loose so I can jam back in to what I'm used to doing. And often that something different gives me new ideas for new patterns, new things I'd never thought of before. And mistakes can lead to something fun. Hi, I'm Father Rich at St. John the 23rd on the University of Tennessee campus, and with the Paulist Fathers, letting you know that if you're feeling stuck, that's okay. We all do it, but the best part is you don't have to stay that way.